Svelte versus Vue, Top Front-End Frameworks Comparison. By Procoders. Today, web developers must make a critical decision that is not getting any easier over time. Previously, there were only two frameworks to choose from: Angular, which was released in 2010, and Vue.js, which was released in 2014. Now it's more like Angular versus React versus Vue versus Svelte. What is Svelte? Rich Harris, the author of Svelte, describes his creation as a framework without the framework. Svelte is based on a tool for compiling components. Essentially, Svelte Js is a compiler itself, at the build stage, allowing you to load only what is needed to display your application on the page: small, digestible JavaScript code. Pros of Svelte Js. Easier to use. With a significant shift in language, in a battle Svelte Js versus Vue, Svelte is looking more favorable. However, in React, Svelte, and Vue comparison, they all are relatively easy to use. The ability to compile code without virtual DOM. The main selling point of Svelte, and the main difference between Svelte and Vue, is reducing the number of digital layers between the browser and the app, which results in more optimized and quick work. Automated updates. With the help of declared variables, Svelte can automatically update your data. That way, you don't have to wait for changes to be reflected in your virtual structure, resulting in a better user experience. Cons of Svelte JS. No major support. While Vue.js and Angular are backed by Google and React is supported by Facebook, both powerful IT giants, Svelte stands without any major support as of yet. Of course, this is a very young framework, and it may get support in the future, but be prepared for its lack if you decide to use it now. Small community. Svelte isn't very popular right now, as you can see on Google Stats, where they analyze Angular versus React versus Vue versus Svelte. This results in a lack of support by the community, and something as simple as finding a UI kit may be time-consuming. Routing issues. You won't be able to create even a one-page web application without a normal router. Currently, there aren't that many for Svelte. Mostly the choice lies between two options, both of which aren't any good. Forget about cross-platform apps. You'll have to rewrite your mobile app completely in React Native, or use hardwired native script, but finish it off by hand. What is Vue? When discussing Svelte JS versus Vue showdown, it's important to mention that one is a newcomer in this field and another is a seasoned player with tons of support and backing. The framework took the best of the world. It adopted two-way data binding from Angular, compactability, and component structure from React. Pros of Vue. Extensive library and excellent documentation. Having a very meticulous and extensive library is a signature of the framework. Its documentation probably has an answer to any developer question, making it an incredibly valuable asset for those who just started discovering Vue. High development speed. Thanks to the templates and the availability of documentation, projects can be developed quite quickly. No complicated interface and a relatively simple syntax make this framework ideal for tight deadlines. Adaptability. It is similar to Angular and React, which makes it easier to use in two ways. First, developers who want to migrate from Angular and React won't find it difficult to relearn a framework, and second, similar design and architecture make it easy to adapt the code itself. Scalability. First and foremost, you can use it for both small one-page apps and big complex web app interfaces. But it's also a wonderful tool to scale your project since it allows you to create templates for multiple employment. Cons of Vue. Community. The community, even though it is larger than Svelte's, is less than in React or Angular. So the knowledge exchange at the developer level within the framework is still improving. Flexibility. Yes, this is somewhat of a disadvantage. When you have too many options, there is a big risk to overcomplicate your code and make your final project bulky and slow. Conclusion. The debate between Angular versus React versus Vue versus Svelte for the title of the best front-end framework is probably never going to cease to exist, especially when new strong players, such as Svelte, come to play. Svelte JS versus React versus Vue. Which framework will you pick for your next project? Subscribe our channel and read more about Svelte versus Vue. Top Front-End Frameworks Comparison at Procoder's blog.